All right, so we're gonna get started on the exhaust portion of this. What I've got is a delete kit to take the factory school bus muffler out from C&L. I'm gonna get that all mocked up, bolted down, everything like where I want it. We'll listen to it with the muffler delete. It's gonna sound terrible. There's no chance I'm leaving it with no muffler on it. It already sounds half raspy from the factory. And then we've got a Borla to go in place. The Borla only comes in an offset, so I had to get an unoffset to bring it back to center. But the plan is, since they give you so much room to work in here, come back in here, the delete kit's gonna mount there. We've just gotta cut the factory pipe right there. It reuses all the hangers, get all that in, and then the Borla kit is just gonna go somewhere straight through here. I've got $130 wrapped up in this whole kit, so it's a pretty good shot in the dark to see if it's gonna sound the way I want. And if it doesn't, well, then I'll have to buy a catback, and I was gonna have to buy a catback anyway. But I'm willing to risk $300 to not have to spend $1,700. So we'll get to getting the muffler delete put in here and then give it a listen and see just how terrible that sounds. All right, so there's the first half of it done. Got the muffler delete installed. C&L made that super simple. One cut, couple bolts, couple clamps. So let's set it down and get a listen to what this sounds like. So much as suspected, the muffler delete is louder, but it certainly does not sound tuned, and it gets real gross anything above idle. So we're going to shut this down so it doesn't get too hot, get the Borla put in, and see if hopefully that gets us the tone we're looking for. All right, so since that sounded just as gross as I thought it would, this is what we've got to go in its place. So we've got the Borla muffler, little offset pipe. If someone would get a hold of Walker and tell them to stop putting these stupid paper stickers on here, I would really appreciate it. Been dealing with this nonsense for 20 years and it's so annoying. But we're gonna get this marked out, figure out approximately where we need to cut that center pipe, and then get that chopped up and ready to go. All right, so I got it all mocked up, and on this end, it didn't have a very good seal. This pipe is made for this U-bolt style clamp, which I did not want to use. So I came in and cut some relief cuts to let it squeeze, but I only put 2 on it, and it had some gapping on this end. So I took it back apart, which is why I didn't want to use these, because with a band style clamp, you can take it back apart. So I took it back apart, widened the original 2, and then just gave it an extra little relief on each side. That way this can cinch down with the band, and hopefully we'll have a tighter seal on this when we get it back together. So put it back together and see how I like it now. All right, so this is pretty much what I had envisioned from the start. Reuse the front flange, put the Borla muffler in the middle. This offset got us back in line with the back flange. It's a little pieced together, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's cobbled together. I've got good clearance on everything. This pipe fits much better after putting some more relief in those slice cuts. It really let it cinch down just about perfect. Then all that lines up into the muffler delete and back into the factory pipes. I'm not saying that a catback isn't worth the money. There's realistically no performance to be gained on this. This truck is not going to be fast. It's a giant 6,000 pound pig. I just want it to sound cooler. I just can't wrap my head around spending $1,500+ on exhaust. So again, I think I've got less than 300 bucks in this. If I get 70 or 80% of the sound for 20% of the money, I'm gonna be happy with it. And if it sucks, well then I'm out 300 bucks and I learned not to be an idiot. But for bolt together stuff that is completely reversible, the only thing I couldn't reverse is that slice at the back. Any muffler you put on, the MBRP kit, anything else has you do that too. So I could come back in, put that original piece of pipe back in, because I'm gonna hold on to that, and put any catback back in here if I wanted to after the fact. And with a little bit of work, you could really return it to stock, but who would ever want to do that? It sounded horrible. So let's let it down and see what the end result is here. So end result was, I hated that. Absolutely nothing negative about the fine folks at Borla. This said it had a moderate to aggressive tone. That was a pawpaw muffler in my opinion. I gave it a couple days to burn in just to see if it would sound better. This weekend we drove my wife's car. It's quieter than a stock Wagoneer. Has a great tone but zero volume. So the good news is I had a backup plan. I went the more conservative route to begin with so it wouldn't be too loud. That was a 400-482 Pro XS. I also ordered a 485 XR1, what they consider their race muffler. If that is moderate to aggressive, if that's what that muffler is supposed to be, they consider this loud. We don't have necessarily the same sensibilities. So we're gonna disassemble that, get rid of the offset, which we're not going to end up needing. This is just straight through. Would actually been the simpler one to put in first, but trying to be sensible, not have a brand new truck that was just god-awfully loud, but that didn't pan out. So we're going to get to disassembly, put everything back with a straight through, and then hopefully get a little more volume with the same tone. All right, so that went pretty simple. Honestly, hate that I was trying to be conservative before, because this is a much cleaner installation. You wouldn't even need this extra connector had I not split it there for the offset. So if anyone else is considering installing this one, it is ultra simple. One cut there, slide your pipes together, and it bolts up and goes. This is a do it in your driveway project, quite frankly. Super glad I used the band clamps, made unbolting everything easy. I only had about probably 15 minutes and getting everything retrofitted back to the new style. Now all we have to hope is that this one sounds a little bit more aggressive than a stock family SUV. But we'll see. We'll see what Borla's idea of a race muffler looks like. And again, nothing against Borla. I'm sure they're sad that I'm even using their products in this cut rate kind of way. But even with the change out on the muffler, I'm gonna have about 400 bucks in everything. So we still save $1,200 if this works out. So let's let it down and see what it sounds like. So I am much happier with that. It is nice and toned at idle. It does not have any rasp or any cackle, but it's got probably 40% more volume than the Pro XS did. Just enough where you can actually hear it. You can tell it's not a stock exhaust, but it's not outrageous. So we got a bit of a downpour going on out here, but once it gets dried up, we'll do some outside shots, maybe a drive-by or so, and see what it sounds like actually in motion. But just right off the rip, I got to adjust these exhaust tips, but it sounds much, much better than just stock.
That's so cool. It sounds like a race truck.